Instagram. How are you? Sorry for my tardiness, half hour late, but family called. My grandmother of 94, God bless her, needed my help, and I had to go help her out. As you may or may not know, that's my grandmother is my everything. She's my last living grandmother, my last living grandparent, and so she asked for me to help her out and around. Yes, as close to time with regards to the show as it did, but I tried to get here on time, but it didn't exactly work out. But you know, Dad called, duty called, and I was there to serve. So if you can't serve your grandmother now, if you can't kiss or hug your grandmother, what can I say? You have to cherish the moments that they're here. So I do not regret it one bit. But we are back on track with Talk Live, and we're going to talk about the hate for Tate. Yes, I am. I was looking through the Manosphere, looking through MGTOW, looking through Red Pill, looking through all these things, and you know what? The one thing that kept popping up, the one person that kept popping up, more or less throughout our time here, was Mr. Andrew Tate. Mr. Tate is probably the most looked up individual in the world at the moment, especially for his views on intersexual relations, in terms of gender dynamics, in terms of COVID, in terms of his Hustlers University. We're gonna get into it all. I may just expand this to a second show tomorrow, just to hone down his one view that has a lot of people miffed, and that is his view on females and view on relationships. So let me just grab a drink quite quickly here. That's what I usually start up. That's usually start in, and we're gonna get going with this Talk Live stream right now. I know maybe I'm gonna wait on a few of you to join us here. We'll finish out the decent run. Oh my God! Finish the amaretto off, and we're gonna go with it. We're gonna go with it. Anyways, amaretto, wink, wink, amaretto. Anyways, but it's just literal water. Anyways, but dirty water. Anyway, so we're gonna get into it because so said, so done, and we're gonna follow on with what we came to do. So, Mr. Tate, let's get into it here with Mr. Tate. Now, Mr. Tate was a world champion kickboxer. He was a 4-time world champion kickboxer. He was very well known in the kickboxing world. He is of mixed race. Not a lot of people know that. He is of mixed race. His dad is black, his mother white. And his dad is American and his mother English. And he grew up in England with his mother. And from there he had, normal, humble beginnings. And he decided to make his way out of his humble beginnings through kickboxing. He became a world champion. He became, a very well-respected kickboxer. Actually, I think we have yes. Let's see if we have an Andrew Tate kickboxing moment here from none other than, hold on a second. Let me just look it up quickly. I may not have saved it. All these things I say that didn't save that. Hello, Lauren. How are you? Welcome to Talk Live. Let me see here. Andrew Tate. Andreu. Tate. And... oh, yes, indeed. Joe Rogan. Yes, indeed. Andrew Tate, Joe Rogan podcast. Here we go. Yes, indeed. So... yes, Tate becoming the platform. Again, Joe Rogan, who is an aficionado in the MMA world. He's an aficionado in the MMA space. He is well known throughout in UFC. He's a UFC commentator, one of the best in the business. He was talking about Andrew Tate, and he was talking very highly of Andrew Tate. He was saying that Andrew was an individual who basically had a shot. He was on his way towards becoming a part of the UFC. But again, Andrew decided to look away from that. Now, but again, that's where he got his start. That's where he got his first bit of notoriety. And we're gonna let Joe Rogan speak for himself here on Talk Talk Live. If you're live on YouTube, you can see it right now. And we're gonna go ahead and do this. Let me see if everything is yes, indeed. Hold on just a second. Let me make sure I am on the browser. There we go. We are on the browser now, so you can see it live on YouTube. So we're gonna go and play that bit of things right now. Hold on. Oh, sorry. My bad. Going with it and go.
Big on TikTok. My 12-year-old and my 14-year-old asked me about Andrew Tate. My 14-year-old I said he's a legit world champion kickboxer. I go, I like him a lot. Why do you like him? I was asking him. They said he says a lot of funny stuff on Twitter and TikTok. It's the TikTok thing, because the TikTok algorithm. He did something where he started something where you like join his group, and then you're supposed to like.
But then again, there you go. I mean, Joe Rogan goes into the fact that he was a world champion kickboxer. He was reputed. He was well known in the MMA world. And if you look up Andrew Tate and MMA, you'll be able to see some of his fights. And he is very well respected in the world. So he knows how to handle himself in the ring. He does, and he's gone against many an opponent and done very, very well for himself. So much so that he was on the verge of joining the UFC. He never actually did. But again, it's not to say that he is not well respected and he can throw hands. Joe Rogan definitely can throw hands. There's no doubt about that, because he knows about Krav Maga and all these other different disciplines of MMA, but also Andrew Tate. Andrew Tate was very, very well versed in kickboxing, and again, he's a world champion fighter. But we're gonna go into this one space here that speaks about Andrew Tate's beginnings. It's something from eSports here, and he's gonna go on to explain a bit of his background and what Andrew Tate was up to prior to becoming famous.
And why is he now exploding on Twitch? Let's dive in. Before we get into the video, just a warning that this video does include discussion of physical and sexual abuse, sex work, and some of Tate's clips include language and attitudes that some people would consider misogynistic, so I understand it.
If you're that, okay, well, he had to say it. So, didn't want to have any sort of legal recourse. So, again, he had to say it. But are we that fragile? I don't know. But anyways, he had to say it.
I'm going to skip this one. So, if you're watching this video, it's probably because you want to know who Andrew Tate is.
Andrew, I've seen some of your work as you're doing the rounds on Twitch here, and a lot of the things that you said that you've been called out on, specifically in regards to like women driving, as a matter of fact, are just generally untrue.
Today, Andrew Tate is a British-American influencer, but I'm willing to bet some of you know him from various points in his past. In the early 20-teens, he was a kickboxer, and there's still footage of him out there. He won kickboxing championships in 2009 and 2013. But he moved on, landing a spot on Big Brother before he was removed from the cast because of a video that appeared to show him beating his ex-girlfriend with a belt. Tate claimed.
So there it is. That's the beginning of Andrew Tate's career. Basically, he gained his first bit of notoriety as a world champion kickboxer. Was well on his way towards MMA, but he said to himself that he did not want that life and he wanted to be famous. So, and he said he could not see himself as being as famous as he wanted to be. Kicking ass and taking names in the MMA world. And he wanted it that much quicker, so he decided to submit himself to Great Britain, Big Brother, where Big Brother really started out from, if you know, you know. Big Brother was first broadcasted in England, and then it broadened out to the rest of the world. So it is there, and I think in 2016, as they were saying, that's where he gained a lot of his notoriety, and he was kicked off the show for, again, what was considered beating a woman, but it was the charges were then dropped because, again, the sex was considered consensual. Hello, Troy. How are you? Welcome back to Talk Talk Live. Like, subscribe, comment. England! Anyways, great win for them today. But again, we're just discussing Andrew Tate. Great to see you, Troy. Hope you're enjoying your trip in Kenya. Yeah, he's living large anyway. So, large and in charge. But shout out to you, Troy. Anyways, we get back to it. So Andrew, again, he appeared on Big Brother, gained a bit of notoriety, and he said to himself, you know what? I want to be famous, or I want to be rich. So first venture was get on Big Brother, gain a bit of notoriety, but he said, okay, I had a bit of notoriety to this. How do I turn this on in the business world? How do I make how do I make things work out there in the real world, in the business world? So he had an idea in terms of adult chat, and decided to market that in a larger scale adult chat, and he became rich and I wouldn't say moderately famous, but he became rich through that venture. So we'll let the clip continue.
Claimed that the actions in the video were consensual. Maybe they were, but I can definitely understand if the Big Brother producers would prefer to not have him in an enclosed space with lots of really stressed out people. It was around. So
there you go. So again, it just finishes off why he was kicked out of Big Brother, is because again, Big Brothers didn't like this sort of news for any of their contestants. They thought it would look bad on the brand of Big Brother, so they decided to kick him out. And from there, he decided, okay, well, I'm not in MMA anymore. I'm off Big Brother, so I got to get into the business world, and I want to make millions. And he's going to go on right here how he did make millions, which was through adult chat lines.
This time that Tate launched a business venture with his brother Tristan. He seems to be very proud of it and has described it at length. He recruited some of his girlfriends and then strangers to chat with lonely men on cam over the internet. Now, if you're thinking this is a typical adult website involving cam girls or something, you're wrong. I mean, some of them did operate on those websites seemingly, but that wasn't really the end goal. In the words of his brother Tristan Tate, quote, "It's all a big scam," end quote. One that involved targeting desperate and lonely men. Basically, the models were trying to get men to send them money for fake expenses by making them believe that they are, or could be, in a relationship. They went so far as to hire people to manage the model's relationships with clients while they weren't even online. To quote Tate, "It's a total scam. The model just has their hands on a keyboard that isn't even plugged in. I have real professionals who are fluent in English behind the scenes, getting men hooked, finding out their interests, the name of their dog," end quote. He also said that some men would spend tens of thousands of dollars at once, some even spending their inheritances. But according to Tate, he felt that a clause in their terms of service legally covered them, saying, quote, "One is broadcasting is for entertainment purposes only. That means if a model says she has a sick dog or a sick grandma, it doesn't have to be true. The next is that all cash given to models is a voluntary sign of gratitude for their time broadcasting." I guess I don't really need to agonize over whether this is a legitimate business venture or not, since Tate literally said that it's a total scam. And again, the Tate...
So again, getting back to it. Hello everyone. Welcome back to Talk Live on YouTube. Sorry for my tiredness. Family business, unfortunately, involving my grandmother, my 95-year-old grandmother. So again, we just went into Andrew Tate there, and basically, as he self-confessed, his adult chat line, his adult conversation business was quote unquote a scam, because it was preying on lonely gentlemen who wanted to be with these women, preyed upon their sensibilities, and asked them to send them money for any sort of ground, that being I need to help my family out, or I want to help out with a business venture, or I want to make a purchase of some kind, or simply put, they needed it to get through the day. So that's what Andrew did. He made a good amount of money on that through his friends, his ex-girlfriends who were around the world, and also through his then as it went on, different acquaintances, female acquaintances who went into the business venture trying to help him out and aggrandize money, and not only for Andrew Tate, but for themselves. So it was a business that was trying to, take advantage of men's sensibilities, be a sort of a site that would prey upon their sensibilities, prey upon the lack of sex that they've had, because as we said, 1 out of 3 men have sex less than once a year, and sometimes going on a few years without sex, because unless you're a success for yourself, you won't have sex. So this site actually preyed on those certain gentlemen. But again, that lasted for a certain time, and then he decided to move on and branch out his business. So we're going to get into that right now.
Brothers told all of this freely to the Mirror. This information isn't contested by them, it's confirmed by them. He moved to Romania, and in a now deleted video, he said that 40% of the reason why was their attitude towards sexual assault claims. The account that he used to tweet them is now suspended, but in 2017, Tate tweeted that, quote, "Next point, if you put yourself in a position to be raped, you must bear some responsibility. I'm not saying it's okay you got raped," end quote. And also, quote, "If you go out, meet a guy, take his drinks all night, go to his apartment drunk, start to kiss him, then he grabs your tits, not harassment," end quote. He also wrote a strange serial martial arts story that I cannot get into in this video, but if that sounds intriguing, please check out this awesome video by Zoe B, where she dives into how a man who said it's stupid to read books wrote a book. Yeah. You might also remember him for this hilarious tweet about how, because he hadn't seen Star Wars...
1 second, ladies and gentlemen. I'll be right back. 1 second, because I have just realized something. So let me get there. Just a second. All right. Get that. Build it as we fly. All right. All right. Yeah. Unbelievable. All right. Still here. I'm still looking up microphones. Unbelievable. Yeah. I am struggle streaming. Okay, let's go. I remember I am not hooked up to my microphone, and the microphone's not hooked up to me, so there you go. Still here, ladies and gents, still here. Unbelievable. All right, let's go. So. What happened here? Oh, yes. Okay. Unfreaking believable. Okay. Okay. We are back. We are indeed back. Sorry about the delay, my people, but I forgot to put in the microphone, which I never do. All right. There we go. And Bub's your Uncle. So we are back now on Talk Live. Yes, we are ready and live on YouTube. We are good to go. Okay, so we are back. Unfortunately, sorry about that, but I forgot to hook up the microphone. The microphone, yes indeed. Okay, we've got that microphone done. So let us continue with the story of Mr. Tate. We're going to edit that in post. Hope all is well with you today on Talk Live. Tomorrow will be a better day. I swear. But again, duty called, family called, and I had to go rushing to it. So my apologies for that. Okay, we're ready to go again. So we were talking about Andrew Tate and his rise to fame and notoriety and success. And basically, he has got off of his venture with regards to his adult chat line. Many would say his adult scam line. But, and he said himself is maybe just a scam. But again, he wanted to branch out. He wanted to make a success of himself. And in order to do that, he said the only way to do that was through YouTube, and to try to convince men that they can make a better way of themselves. So be sort of a motivational speaker. So he decided to do that via YouTube, via TikTok, via all these different channels, and he decided to turn that into a business venture that we'll explain a little later. But we're going to go into a bit of his rise to fame right now on YouTube.
He became a multimillionaire. More recently, Tate's home in Romania was raided in connection with a sex trafficking investigation, although there seems to have been no update on this case. But if you knew about Tate before the Aiden Ross stream, it's probably because you saw one of his various hot takes on your chosen form of social media. Maybe it was about relationship dynamics between men and women today.
I don't like traveling the world with women. I think it's one of the most frustrating things a man can possibly do.
Or maybe it's about how, according to him, depression isn't real.
And I said depression wasn't real. And I know that's like a really controversial take. And my point was very simple. My point is that depression is a natural instinct inside of men. And it's something that is designed to show you that you need to change something about your life. Action wins.
So, let me just continue that for a second.
Therapy is not action. Therapy is sitting and crying and complaining. Talk is not action. Chit-chat isn't action.
So, depression isn't real, but also it's a natural instinct telling men to change something about their lives, but the thing they should change is not going to therapy. Stay tuned for the answer from Tate, which of course costs $50. Anyways, the Aiden Ross stream is of course the reason that many of us in gaming, esports streaming are now discussing Andrew Tate. And while the stream seems to have been a net positive for Tate, he also had a disastrous debate with Hassan, where his argument was basically that he felt like the facts were wrong. I honestly don't know. It was really bad.
The fact that you're going on the internet, finding some study and saying that this is the truth, especially after the age of COVID and all the truth we were told with that garbage, you're going to sit here and say, oh, the internet said X. I'm sure the internet did. I'm talking about my personal experiences, and some people agree with me and some people do not. That is perfectly fine.
Okay, so that's how...
So, just getting back to it now, that's how Mr. Tate made a name for himself, because he had a voice for the voiceless. He decided to himself that he wanted to inspire men to be the best version of themselves. There was that take of him, not believing in psychology and believing psychology is a myth. Psychology/therapy is a myth. And that you shouldn't, in order to improve your life and improve your mental health, you should be in the gym working out and doing what's necessary there to better yourself, so that you can have a better look about yourself and therefore have a better self-esteem and better outlook on life, which I agree is a bit true. But again, it doesn't speak to those who do not like the gym and do not wish to further themselves in that area, and as a result have become depressed. So again, therapy has its place, but he never saw it that way. So there's where we, tend to disagree on things. But it's not as if he's wrong about those who have sought gym as a refuge, have sought gym as a way to improve themselves, have sought a way of defeating their depressed attitudes through the gym. And it happened for me, and it happens for many others. But again, I'm not speaking for. I'm not going to speak for those who they don't see that as an avenue. And therapy, indeed, psychology, indeed, psychotherapy, indeed, has its place. So we move on now to a point where his commentary, his hot takes, his shorts have taken to things, and Andrew is now becoming a success. He's becoming a voice of the voiceless. He's becoming quite notable, quite quotable, and and a lot of people are following him these days. Now, again, it all goes to an ulterior motive, which we'll explain later. But it's not as if what he is saying was not thought about highly in many sectors. So we'll let it continue from here. On YouTube, we have it live, and thank you for joining me on Talk Talk Live. Like, subscribe, and comment.
We got to where we are now, but I want to finish this video by discussing who Tate is today and why you're seeing him everywhere. First, let's consider that his first successful business was a self-admitted scam. In many ways, he's no better than the Cash App scammers that Kit Bogo regularly humiliates on stream. Honestly, he might be worse. But what is Andrew Tate up to today? Well, he's kind of like a self-help guru almost through his paid program Hustlers University, which promises to teach you about all sorts of stuff, like maybe committing fraud.
Wait, did you just say do fraud?
If you start business this way, make a website, put some pictures on there, pretend you've got a whole bunch of stuff you ain't got, start getting money in, you can start this business for $5,000.
They have a whole system that professes to teach you how to make money, but from what I've heard from people who have actually taken it, it's stuff you could essentially Google. Ultimately, the advice isn't the point. It might be bad, but it isn't the point. Hustlers University is a scam in the conspicuous shape of a pyramid. Try it yourself. Search for Hustlers University right now. Why exactly are there so many copycat pages? Why are there people absolutely everywhere vouching for him? Why are there thousands of accounts on YouTube and Twitter that appear to be Tate, but upon closer inspection, they're just reposting his content? The answer is that if you're an affiliate of HU, you get paid for signing people up to HU. So regardless of the content of the program, the model definitely works if you can sign up some more people. This was when it all clicked for me. See, some people.
So I'm gonna just stop it there for a moment, and let you and try to condense what he's saying there. In a nutshell, as to his next venture and his next success, and the success that really took him over the top. So he decided that he was a voice for the voiceless, and he said to himself, you know what? He was a voice for the voiceless, especially for those in the Red Pill Society, the MGTOW Society, and he decided to say to himself, you know what? I can market this, my persona, my joie de vivre, my attitude on life, my thoughts on life, on this universe, in this sort of university, this Hustlers University, which, if you Google it right now, is available for all to see. Now, this Hustlers University involves 18 different sets of money-making ventures that he would teach you for about $50 a month. So it takes you $50 a month to get, basically 18 income streams that you can make money on. And as the narrator says here, he is. It's not exactly proven in terms of studies, in terms of they're basically ideas that one can run with based on social media now, and based on especially Andrew Tate himself and his teachings and his sayings, putting them into the public and having people click on those views and you becoming rich because of them. So that's the main business venture that he had for people. Making a site, putting up Andrew Tate videos, having them subscribe to Hustlers University, basically getting a sort of a finder's fee for anybody who would then subscribe to Hustlers University, and also make money on YouTube, on any sort of social platform, professing any sort of Andrew Tate material. Because again, people would not necessarily listen to someone who is not as noteworthy as Andrew Tate. The only way they're going to make money at that time would be through Andrew Tate himself. So people have taken his likeness, taken his sort of means, and I'll play you a video of that a little later, of one of his successful group members who have taken his ideas, put it out on the internet. Basically, they've received so many likes. His page has received so many subscriptions and members, and they've made money through YouTube via his quotes, sayings, and his takes on life. So that's the main issue. There are other things as well, but through those ventures, it has made Andrew Tate relatively rich, to a point where now he lives in Romania on his own in his own compound with his brother, and he continues to profess the Hustlers University lifestyle movement of being strong, getting rich, having fast cars, getting with the right ladies, and making yourself the best you could be through competition. So it's not any foolproof sort of formula. It's just that one can accumulate things through his views, grow their channel, and in and of itself make a name for themselves and make money doing it. So that's where we are right now. That's where Andrew Tate is right now. But this hasn't stopped but with the more that people have taken on to this message, the more that his views have got out there. Now we have come to a point where he is, sorry, I got my collar woven up there. He has come to a point where he is everywhere because there are so many people pushing him online. So that's the stage we are at right now. So again, I'll let the commentator continue as to his point in time right now.
People have wondered about Tate's over-the-top persona. Like, is this an act? Is it supposed to be entertainment? He makes unbelievable claims so often, like that he's the world's first trillionaire, that it all seems extremely surreal. To the point where Deserto's Alec Mullins asked recently if Tate is playing a character. Great read, and I don't want to spoil his conclusion, but I think I have the answer. It doesn't matter at all. Tate makes money when people sign up for HU. His affiliates post his content. And the more outrageous that content is, the more likely people are to share or react to it, even in a purely negative way. Sure, 95% of people might walk away thinking, yeah, this guy's a total asshole. But the 5% who don't might sign up for HU. So it's in his best interest to just say wild shit constantly, which he does. Tate told Hassan that if HU wasn't legit, if it didn't make you rich, he wouldn't have so many subscribers. But that's a pretty flimsy argument, right? Like, there could be a lot of reasons why he has so many subscribers. Like, I don't know, the commission that his affiliates get for signing people up. Come on, guys, this isn't that hard. But does Tate need the money? I honestly do.
So there you go. I mean, if you see it, as you see it that way, Andrew Tate has basically, as they say, potentially has created a pyramid scheme for himself where, he pays people, finder's fees in order to bring them into Hustlers University. They basically, gain a notoriety through his teachings, his sayings online. Their channel grows, so therefore they not only get a finder's fee for bringing people to Hustlers University and learning these 18 techniques, they also grow their channels through subscribing to Andrew Tate teachings, putting it out there in the public, and indeed having his name become ubiquitous, basically everywhere, becoming the most searched individual basically in 2022, the most known individual of 2022. So again, it's a little different from The Godfather, where the Godfather grew his channel through, basically advice and basic, connections with mostly black people, and basically letting ladies know what it needs to take to get a high value man and to build yourself a relationship with a man. Period. This guy's taking things on to a point where I need to make money. I have certain views on women. You can use these views in order to grow your channel. Once you grow your channel, have them sign up to Hustle University for a finder's fee, and with that finder's fee, you get 18 sort of, how-tos to grow your business, your online business, more than likely. And with that, it not only grows their, these individual channels. I think there's to date, I think about 400,000 signed up to Hustle University. So there are, it is sort of a success, and also it has created a sort of a following in terms of Andrew Tate, because his voice is now ubiquitous. His voice is everywhere because people have put it out there for profit, for a reason, because they want to earn from his message. So it's sort of it's sort of a giant loudspeaker being fed into, which is being fed by people who want to not only make money but who believe in his message. So again, it's sort of different to the Kevin Samuels model in and of itself. That's why he's the most searched individual in the world, because again, he wants to see people subscribe to his university and promote his channel, and therefore make profits for those who do so. So that's where we are right now. So we're going to get into a little bit further into his life, and then we're going to explain a few of his messages in and of itself, and the reason why he indeed got banned. Here live on YouTube. Let me see if there's anybody on YouTube to which has made any sessions. Nope, not right now. So we're going to go ahead and move on.
Don't know or care, and by his own admission, it seems to be more about his own influence.
I think that there's going to be a large paradigm shift coming in real time. Maybe not this generation, but certainly the next generation. What that's going to be, I don't know. Whether it's going to be good or bad, I don't know. However, I believe that having people who agree with my worldview and agree with what I say and think, I think having so many people who are on my side of the fence with money is better than having a whole bunch of brokies.
What does matter is that his shitty takes have the potential to marginalize or even endanger women. So I don't really care if he's trolling, if lots of people are taking these things seriously. But listen, Tate can't fix your anxiety or confusion about our changing world. Your anxiety is why he's targeting you in the first place. When he tells you that depression isn't real and you shouldn't see a therapist, think about it for a moment. Mental health professionals are literally his direct competition. If you have your life together and you feel confident about who you are, you probably don't need life advice from someone who seems extremely excited to boast about how he scammed downtrodden men. I guess what I'm saying is that Andrew Tate is sort of like the world's first human cryptocurrency, or MLM, except instead of decentralized finance, it's more like decentralized PR. A lot of people...
Which is a good point. Again, thank you for joining me on Talk Live. Like, subscribe, comment. What he raises, is again something that has to be taken into account. What Andrew Tate has, basically, quite inspired. Well, I wouldn't say inspiringly. I would say quite. What he's done well to do, in and of itself, for lack of a better word, what he's done well at is he's realized that there are a lot of lonely men out there, and he realizes that, as the narrator says here, that if you are seeking therapy, psychotherapy of any kind, it goes against his brand. It goes against him making money, because his job is to make money off of depressed, downtrodden, lack of confident men. He's a confidence man. Well, he's a confidence man making money from non-confident men, and that's always been his trait. Not only through his his adult chat lines, but also through his Hustlers University. He has decided that there are a lot of suckers in the world, and he wants their money. So he decided to cater a sort of a sort of brand to which a lot, he tries to cater to non-successful slash depressed slash, black pill, as we have displayed on Talk Talk Live, black pill, red pill, blue pill gentlemen. And he's asked them to, give them, give us your money for the confidence that we may give you in order to not only make money, but to feel better about yourself. Now, again, that is sort of the shady part of Andrew Tate that I'm not in total agreement with. I feel that, there are certain aspects of Andrew Tate that, I feel are in the role of confidence men. He has seen a niche. He has seen individuals who are lacking in self-esteem, lacking in confidence, lacking in sex, lacking in lacking in availability with women, and who have black pilled themselves, shaded themselves away from men, who are unconfident in and of themselves, and he's decided to profit on it. And so that's why I say, there are certain segments of his message that I agree with, and there are certain things that are not. This is one that I, through research, I do not agree with, in the fact that he is taking confidence of men trying to profit from their shortcomings, which is a shame. But hey, it's a sucker born every minute, and he is and if you are willing to give him your money, your $50 a month, if you're willing to give him your time, your efforts, in order to make, in order to promote his message at the end of the day, then, as they say, there's a sucker born every minute. But so to take his message to that extent is sort of foolhardy, but if you become a success of it, who am I to judge? So with that in mind, I'm not one to, say that psychology is a myth, and that, people don't need therapy or don't need psychotherapy or don't need any sort of psychological help at all. I think, if it's available to you, please take it. If therapy is available to you and it's important to you, please do it. Man or woman, child or adult, do it, because again, it'll help you through rough times, and again, it's a way to heal yourself from within. So I'm totally with that. I'm totally in agreement with that. But so again, that is the Andrew Tate side of his business side of things. So let me just finish this off, and then we can move forward.
People with dreams of a better life are buying in, and then they're getting their friends involved too, because in some cases it's in their financial self-interest. All he's aiming to do is to convince you that you're poor and sad, and if you want to treat women like he does, you'll need to be rich first.
I paid for everything, instantly, as a man should. So when you walk into a house and you see mess, why is your lazy ass not doing the right thing and start picking and cleaning shit up? You're sitting there going, that's sexist. Well, it's sexist for me to pay for everything, isn't it, you bimbo?
He doesn't want to engage with reality.
So again, dealing with that on Talk Live. If you're seeing it live, you can see it there. That part of the message I am somewhat in agreement with. And that is, if you are indeed, sad and depressed, seek therapy. Absolutely. Go out, seek therapy, do what you need to do in order to better yourself. Yes. But Andrew Tate doesn't agree with that. But the one thing that I do agree with is the fact that if you want a way out, an avenue out of your depression, a way through that, as many have proven, is through exercise, is through bettering yourself, not only physically but financially as well. Now, to use that along with therapy, I think is the best way forward. But Andrew Tate doesn't believe in therapy. Doesn't believe in any sort of therapeutic solution to one's problems. Which, again, this is where we part ways. But to my understanding, what he does say at the end there is right. As a man, there are certain responsibilities. There are certain things that women see as noteworthy, see as making themselves the best person that they can be as a man, and that means being the one to pay for things, being being strong, being confident, making sure you're physically and mentally capable, making sure that you are the best version of yourself. And also, if you are a man, if you are a high value man, you should be the one to, pay for things, pay for dinners, pay for high ticket items, and have your woman's confidence, your woman's ability, your woman's ability to say that you are a man of high value and you are a person that I should be submissive to, should be cooperating with, and I should be bringing my best to you, because you have shown me that you have that confidence in order to be the best you can be, and to provide not only for the lady in your life for themselves, but also for your offspring. So again, I agree with that point in and of itself. So I'll let this finish.
Because he's not selling it. After all these years, he's still selling the dream, and he's targeting the same people that he discovered were all too willing to hand over money to his cam girls for the promise of some future relationship. He talks a big game, but as is sadly the case with so many of these get-rich, life-changing, controversial gurus, the shepherd most often turns out to be the wolf.
Okay, so again, that finishes that video, which again is a pretty fair commentary. It is a pretty fair commentary, even though there are certain things I like about Andrew Tate. There are certain things that Andrew Tate is a dark side. Let's face facts. He has a dark side, and that dark side involves him, taking advantage of men who are not confident, taking advantage of men who are incels, taking advantage of men who are black-pilled, taking advantage of men who can't make their way confidently in the world. They want to shelter themselves from the world. And, he's considered a Chad. Let's face facts. He's been a world champion kickboxer. He has made himself into a millionaire. Right or wrong, he's made himself into a millionaire. He has confidence of a lot of women. If you've seen him on Fresh and Fit, you'll know this, because he's hit on young women all the time, and yet he's quite able to gain their confidence and to get their number and to do what he wants to do with them. So again, it's not as if it's not a successful scenario. But the fact of the matter is, he is indeed selling sort of a confidence game, sort of a quote unquote scam. He's actually called it a scam, and it has not been to the liking of many, especially those in the especially those who are to those gentlemen who see themselves as a bit blue pill, a bit incel, a bit a more reserved and less confident, and also those who are black pill themselves. So we're gonna move on from there, that was a great sort of view. But we're gonna move on to the reason why Andrew Tate got banned, because again, through his views on women, through his views on COVID, through his views on, and I have a video upcoming on that, through his views on COVID, through his views on male-female relationships, on gender dynamics, through his views on basically on the New World Order and this sort of thing, he has been demonetized. He has been deplatformed from all the major sites. I think the only one he hasn't been deplatformed from is Twitch, but that may be soon in coming. So he's been deplatformed off YouTube. He's been deplatformed off of Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and a few others that mostly come to mind, but major platforms he's been demonetized from. So he's going to go into the reason why he was demonetized in just a bit, and again, I'm going to get on to, where is this now? Here we go. Yes. The reason why he got banned. So he's going to speak about it right here. He was on I'll just get it here. The Valuetainment show. Shout out to Valuetainment. Thank you for the interview you did with Andrew Tate himself. But I'm gonna let him speak from the horse's mouth as to why he was banned as of, I believe, June, July this year, just a couple months ago. And yeah, it's his notoriety became so big that they had to shut him down. They had to shut him down for different reasons. He'll go into them right now.
Some kind of bullshit explanation that I'm misogynistic or some garbage, but the actual social media companies themselves provided no explanation at all, no correspondence at all. They just deleted it.
Now, are you doing anything about it? Are you?
Let me go back a little bit. I'm going to go back a little bit and then let him explain again.
Whether it was YouTube that banned me or Meta that banned me, they banned me instantly and forever without any kind of correspondence. They've not told me why. They've not told anyone what I did. The media machine, in synchronization with the ban, we can call that coincidence if you want to believe in such things, came out with some kind of bullshit explanation that I'm misogynistic or some garbage. But the actual social media companies themselves provided no explanation at all, no correspondence at all. They just deleted it.
Now, are you doing anything about it? Are you having your legal team trying to find out why they did that, or you're not taking any action right now?
I do have a lot of things happening behind the scenes. However, and perhaps I'm becoming optimistic in my old age, but I believe that in due course, the social media companies will realize the mistake they made. I think that, and like I said, I don't have intimate knowledge of the workings of social media companies, but assuming they are semi-professional to any regard, that is a big assumption. But let's assume they're professional. That means that when they ban somebody like me, especially the most Google search person on the planet, they must have teams which are analyzing in real time the response to said action, right? Mm-hmm. They should have people sitting there on the ground analyzing. Now, they attacked me with their media machine, because first they shut you up so they can lie about you. So they shut me up. Then they did the massive media push to try and attempt to lie about me. But despite that, the majority of comments regarding me are still positive. The majority of people believe and understand that this ban is unfair. And if these companies have any degree of professionalism, they're analyzing this in real time and they're understanding that this makes us look very bad. People didn't believe the lie. People didn't believe what we attempted to smear this man with. Nobody's buying this narrative. And this is going to have a negative effect on us for a very, very long time. Because when you're in charge of the world, which they are, as soon as you're no longer seen as just and fair, you're seen as tyrannical. And once you're seen as tyrannical, then there's going to be some kind of mass movement against you.
So there is the reason why. Okay, well, it goes into the reason why he was banned off of all the major, basically all of the major social media platforms. It's because, again, his views on women and especially his views on COVID. Those two reasons. As it was a sensitive time for COVID and people are trying to get over the virus. I mean, I have my own views on COVID. But he put it out to such a huge audience that he saw themselves as a threat. Not only that, but his views on women, which they consider to be misogynistic. He said that they were saying that with that, it was time for him to be deplatformed, and a lot of women's groups and women in general, they saw this as being quite toxic and being quite overwhelming to deal with, and they said they wanted him to be deplatformed. So they deplatformed him. So they decided to end things for Andrew Tate. But at the end of the day, if you deplatform somebody and you think that that'll be the end of things, you try to besmirch someone and have that be the end of things. A problem with that is you have people want to research and want to get to know Andrew Tate better. So not only has it's the whole Hydra theory. You try to cut off one's head and more heads grow out. So through this ban, you have given him greater notoriety. You're asking people to look out for him that much further. Because again, at the start of spring, only a certain amount of people knew about Andrew Tate. By the end of fall, most of the world do. He's one of the most Googled names in the world at the moment, and his views are now throughout the masses, like literally throughout the masses. It's now gone worldwide. It's now gone global, and that's a problem when you have a person whose views, not may be considered controversial, but speaks to a good amount of people, not especially a good amount of men. I mean, women. There are certain women who adhere to that idea as well, who we'll see a little later. But his movement only got bigger. It just did. It just got bigger, stronger, and despite his, his different business, his nefarious business ideas, he grew a massive following. He grew a massive following, not only with adult men, but with adolescent men as well, because they saw him as a certain hero of the masses. So I'll let him continue his chat with Valuetainment here now.
I was a social media executive. I would sit and I would analyze the data and I would say, listen, guys, we will have a monopoly. We want to retain our monopoly. Let's be smart here. Being known as tyrannical amongst the public consciousness across the entire planet, it's going to make it very difficult for us to hold our monopoly for a longer period of time, as opposed to being seen to be fair. Even if we're biased, we must be seen as fair. Sure. As soon as we're seen as tyrannical, that's when the revolution. Look at Ceausescu. As soon as you're tyrant, that's when everyone hits the streets. Yep. So I think that if they have any kind of serious data monitoring, and if they have any kind of serious business professionalism, they are now talking in dark rooms, understanding that this has played out very badly for them. And if they intend on keeping their monopoly into the future, that they need to change. Maybe I'm being optimistic.
Who was the first one to take you off?
Meta.
Meta was first.
Meta.
Facebook, Instagram.
Facebook, Instagram.
Okay. And then it was a domino effect.
Yeah, so Meta took me down. So it's quite interesting, actually. I had a YouTube channel for a while. It was never so large. I had 738,000 subscribers. It took me a long time to build it up. I got a strike on YouTube, which prevented me from posting. Got a strike. No big deal. The next day, Meta took me down, deleted my Facebook and my Instagram. The press came out at exactly the same time, in sync, saying that I'm a misogynistic, racist person, that I'm harmful, that I am the reason that the world is not a perfect place, world hunger, you name it, all my fault. Attacked me across all of this, and I thought, okay, let me film a message that I can get out on my YouTube. My final message, which I don't know if you guys have seen, I ended up putting on freetalkg.com. Let me film my final message explaining how this is unfair and unjust. We filmed it, we produced it, we got it all edited within 12 hours, had it ready to go, but we couldn't post it because of the YouTube strike. So we're waiting for the YouTube strike to expire. A few hours before the YouTube strike expires, guess what happened? They banned me. Then they banned me from Discord. Then they banned me from Airbnb. They banned me from Stripe. I can't even remember. It was just emails coming in faster than you could believe. Ban.
So Matrix, the socials.
Oh, no, the Matrix presses a button, my friend. Yeah. And every app on your phone stops working. Uber. You name it. Uber. Stop. You name it.
Wait, you can't use Uber?
Well, I can use it.
So again, he goes into the fact that first it was Facebook that banned him. Then, as you know, Meta, Facebook banned him first, and he said, okay, well, and he had as he said, his first channel was earning had about 735,000 subscribers at that time, which is massive in comparison. And so they said, you know what, with his with the viewpoints that he had, especially when it started going into COVID, because misogynistic views, quote unquote misogynistic views, or should I say manosphere / MGTOW / red pill views are seen as toxic masculinity and negative and misogynistic towards women. So, it earned him a strike. But I think what really took him over the edge was his views on COVID. I think that really did leave a mark with the powers that be, and say, you know what, we can't have this message be proliferated in society when you don't believe there is COVID. You think you have different views about vaccines and how necessary and how unnecessary they are. And with that idea, they started deplatforming. They started deplatforming on Facebook. They add that with his quote unquote misogynistic views. They deplatform him on YouTube. Then, as he says there, he said, okay, fine. They gave him a strike on YouTube, and then they banned him. And then it fell down from there. It became a domino effect. They banned him off YouTube. They banned him off Instagram. They banned him off because, again, all these companies are owned by one company, which is Mark Zuckerberg. So again, one is linked to the other, So again, all these different companies: Instagram, YouTube, Twitch. I wouldn't say Twitch yet. YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, definitely TikTok, and Facebook all banned him. They all banned him at once. So that happened at once. And not only that, as you said, they banned him off any sort of social media platforms, any sort of crowd sharing, any sort of monetary value, any sort of platform which used the name Andrew Tate, he was banned from. So it was a complicated matter. Again, as you said, Uber banned him for some reason because again they saw his views as being quite temperamental and dangerous. So they banned him there as well. So it's hard. So it came to a point where it was hard for him to. I'm sure it went into freezing his accounts and monitoring his whereabouts. Again, that's neither here nor there. But it was a point where they basically tried to cut him off from influencing anybody in any social media through any social media sphere anywhere in the world. So because they saw his message being dangerous, they saw his message being quote unquote toxic. So it was an issue. It was a problem. So but that's what made the famous infamous. Now he's infamous. Now everybody wants to know about him. Now everybody wants to see who this Andrew Tate is. Made him more notable. Gave him more notoriety. So here we are, and I'll let him finish the reasons why he was banned here on Valuetainment.
Because you read a start new account, right? But I'm sorry, Uber. But
your main account on Uber was taken.
they take everything. Everything. Coordinated effort all at once. Coordinated effort all at once. Every single one of them just goes, no. Delete, and I come at you and they come at you with everything. Banking, right? Banks. Payment process. And banks. UK-based banks as well. High Street, banks. I can name. Santander, HSBC, Barclays, etc. all at the same time. No, sorry, to change, we've decided because blah, blah, some bullshit, some letter, close your accounts. So they take all your banking, they take your payment processing, they take all your social media presence, they take your Discord, they take your Skype, they take all your accounts, your ability to communicate with people, and then they lie about you in the press.
If you enjoyed this.
So listen, they got really serious about Andrew Tate. Listen, they got ruthless. They got literally ruthless. Not only did they ban him from all social media platforms, they froze his accounts. They didn't want him functioning in any way, shape, or form in order to get his message out. They did not want it. They did not, and they saw him as being dangerous. They saw him as being too influential in society for him to be allowed to carry out his message. They saw it was, and to a certain extent, was that right? I think people have a right to decide who they're influenced by and who they are not influenced by. But I think the key point about it was they did not like his views on women. Simple as that. They did not like. I mean, they definitely did not like his views on COVID. I think that was the tipping point. That's what took him over the edge. But the one thing that stuck through everything, and that all these social media platforms are geared towards, are women. And if you are seen as having a contrarian view to feminism and to women's rights and to having a sort of a old school masculine ideal, that is seen as counterproductive. And so they shut him down. They literally shut him down because they saw him as being too influential. And now he stopped being famous. He became infamous. And if you are infamous, then people want to know your name. And there's no such thing as bad publicity. And he gained from that bad publicity. Now he's the most searched name in the planet. Now people really want to know him. Now people really want to have an idea as to who this guy is, no matter what your views on him. So it's sort of a catch-22. You know what I mean? I don't know if he wanted this notoriety, but the notoriety that comes with him, I think, is gonna, if you can believe it, it's gonna make him a much bigger a much bigger person on any sort of in the social media space, more so than anything that he could have contemplated. Quite simply, I think, and not only that, it was a case where, I think he was a victim of his own background. I think for the fact that he was biracial. Let's let that be said. Andrew Tate's biracial. His dad is black, his mother's English and white, and because of that biracial sphere he comes from, he catered to a lot more people, and if he catered to a lot more people, he becomes more influential to a lot more people, more so than Kevin Samuels ever did. I think they saw Kevin Samuels as being, only a sort of a game changer to black people and the African diaspora. They only saw him, as being popular in those spheres. Where Andrew Tate, he crossed all borders. He crossed all sectors. He crossed all genres, to a point where they saw him as being much more dangerous than Kevin Samuels did. Although, as will be seen later, he has the same sort of views as Kevin Samuels ever did. He did the same sort of views, the same sort of attitude with regards to relationships. The same sort of attitude, and I think Andrew Tate took it a little further, just a tad bit further, in terms of his attitude towards relationships and towards women, and he definitely pushed the boundaries. But a lot of their tenets remain the same. They do remain the same. It's just that Andrew Tate appealed to white people, black people, Chinese people, every person on the planet, because he had that sort of biracial appeal, and Kevin Samuels had to, well, basically, he had a black audience, and then he became a part of wider audiences, but still his audience was still African diaspora in general. So we can move on from there to discuss, Andrew Tate in and of itself, his ideas on certain things. But we're gonna get, and the thing about it is I want to do, because time may be running short, and I want to end things at 11 p.m. I want to do a full length conversation as to his ideas on relationships, because I think that should be a whole show in and of itself altogether. So we're gonna get into a few more subject matter, and then tomorrow night we're gonna come back at 8 p.m. right here on IG, YouTube, and TikTok. We're going to get on to how he feels about male-female relationships. Because that is what that's what drew everybody to Andrew Tate in the first place. His COVID ideas, yeah, okay, they were sort of the fringe. His ideas on, the New World Order and the Matrix, that's sort of a fringe idea. But what really gets Andrew's goat, and what really brought Andrew to the fore in terms of the consciousness of the world, was his view on male-female, on gender dynamics, male-female relationships. That's the one. That's the one that everybody has subscribed to. So I'm just gonna go on to discuss a few more bits and bobs. I'm gonna play this this valuetainment episode about what Andrew Tate will never compromise on. This is, again, a continuation of the conversation he had with valuetainment. Shout out to valuetainment, and it's going to explain what Andrew Tate will never compromise on in terms of things. Let me just have a quick look as to if anything would be better suited for him to discuss. Okay, no, that'll be for tomorrow. That's definitely for tomorrow. Okay, so yeah, I think we're gonna discuss what Andrew Tate will never compromise on. You can see it on YouTube. Let me see if I have any comments here. No, we're good to go. Okay, let's move on with the subject matter here. What Andrew Tate will never compromise on.
Guys, I use the phrase running mates, where Tristan's your running there's a levels to running mates, right? So you got acquaintances, you got, friends, you got best friends, then you got running mates. Running mates is a handful. It's not that many.
Yeah.
And when you create that kind of an environment, there's a very mutual understanding of what the standards are to be at this level. You can go to dinner and shoot the shit and talk to anybody. Hey, hey, how you doing? I'm great, man. What's up? How you doing? Man, great, awesome, family good, everybody good, great. And then there's the next one, and the next one, and the next one, and the next one. And some people try to become too friendly too soon, and it's a little awkward. Yeah. Just relax a little bit, let a couple of years go by, and then we'll see where this thing goes. For your end, what code? Not you and Tate, because not you and Tristan. Yeah. Set that one aside. I'm talking about anybody else, non-blood. Yeah. And I'm not even talking cousin value. I'm talking non-blood. Yeah. Anybody that's non-blood, that's in the inner circle of Tate, and it's a handful of people on that list. What are some codes all of you follow that's non-negotiable?
Absolutely. That's a fantastic question, and I know exactly that answer. So the first things first is I do not like to hang around with men who suffer from a lack of women, because in my experience, any man who can't get women will eventually sell you off to women. It's too powerful a force. Too powerful a force. If you're completely sex deprived all the time, sooner or later you're going to sell your boys out for sex, whether it's his ex or some girl talking bad about her boy, but you really want pussy, so you let her slide. You're not good with girls, I don't want to talk to you. Second thing is money.
First thing first. That's hard to disagree with. I mean, he doesn't want to deal with the sex list. That's some of his things he'll never compromise on. He doesn't want to deal with men who will sell yourself out for women. And there are a lot of men out there who will sell their friends out for a lady. For, as they say, pum pum. They will sell themselves out for that. Because it is a powerful force. The power of the P is powerful. It is so powerful. And if men have been deprived of it for years, chances are, or for a good amount of time, chances are that you will sell your friend down a river for it. And it's happened from time immemorial. And I can agree with that. He wants guys who are well suited and booted with the ladies. He wants guys who are very successful with the ladies, because at the end of the day, they're the ones who don't need the sex in order to get by. They've already had the sex, so they don't need necessarily to have women in order to enhance themselves and their lifestyle, and will not sell their friends down a river. So, again, that's one of the values that Andrew Tate doesn't compromise on. Again, we're just getting the inside of his mind with regards to what he will not compromise on. And again, you can see it here on Talkdtalklive on IG, YouTube. Like, subscribe, comment. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers. And I forgot my sponsor, sponsored by Duntalk, DUNTALK.com. Like, fall winter line out now. But we'll go on with matter number 2.
You don't want to be rich. If you're starving, you're gonna try and sneak some money out of somebody, right? You can't eat and do anything for food. You can't pay the bills or do anything for money. That means whether it's a plea bargain, whether it's trying to rob me, whether it's money sitting around my house. I don't want to talk to extremely broke people. I don't want to talk to extremely sex deprived people for the same reason I wouldn't have a whole bunch of food around a hungry person. Same reason. It's the first 2 things. Next thing is,
so again, he wouldn't want to deal with anybody who's broke. Sort of like what ladies are today, but I can understand this thing, because again, if you are broke, then you will be desperate to do anything, which, again, so, I mean, I don't know how deep that would run with men, but I can see his point. I can. There are certain men who are desperate to be in position of other men. Hate runs deep. Let's say that. Hate runs deep. There are reasons why all these rappers out there are getting shot, because these guys are successful and you're not. And you're not partaking in that. So they'll be hungry enough to backstab, connive, kill, and double deal and double cross their brother in order to get ahead. So he doesn't want to deal with anybody who are in a vulnerable position, who have something to lose. Because if you have nothing to lose, then chances are you'll tend to be more loyal. If you have something to lose, then chances are you'll be sold down the river, or you'll be considered a target so that they can get back at you, which is sad, but it is true. He is right about that. Go on to number 3.
is loyalty. And I know that's super hard to judge, but I really like to believe that the few people I hang around with, if they were all in separate police interviews and they were to come and say, hey, your boy turned, I could literally burst out laughing. Say, bro, you better come with a new story. Go away and think about it and come back. We can talk, but don't try that one. Try again. So loyalty is very, very important. Next is bravery, because
Again, he only wants loyal soldiers than anybody, but that's with any male group. What's paramount is loyalty. What's paramount is loyalty among the group. Loyalty among the brothers of the group. Loyalty counts for everything. And I can totally understand it. Anybody in any sort of male group / gang / organization, loyalty is key. Be it black market, be it in any criminal organization or any organization in general, loyalty is key. That's the reason why you sign non-disclosure agreement to make sure that you have the loyalty of your crew, of your company members in order to move forward and become successful. So again, he only wants loyal people in his group, and I can totally understand that. Any man would understand that.
Fight is fine, but won't fight is unacceptable. Never. If I'm with my 5 friends and I'm going to toilet in the club and I come back and I see someone punch one of my friends, I am annihilating anybody in that guy's group. We'll find out why later. My guy could have been wrong. It could have been my guy's fault. I'm just hitting him. I'm just knocking everyone. When everyone's asleep and the threat is neutralized, I'm like, bro, the fuck was that? Oh, I started. It's like, oh, I'm fucking. First, people have to pay, right? We'll worry about the whys afterwards. So they have to have that loyalty and that devotion to the bravery, the ability to fight. I find it very crazy. I find it crazy, and I say this often to guys. So you're rolling around with these men who won't even fight to protect you because they're cowards. So they'll watch you get your head stomped to death and cower out and not even try and help you. And they're like, yeah, but he's funny. But he's funny? We're talking about life and death. You're talking about fucking funny? Like, so if I can smell on someone that they wouldn't even attempt, I don't want to be anywhere near the same reason.
So what he says there, again, it's more of it speaks to his sort of his fighting upbringing, his fighter mentality. But again, I think this is sort of similar for most gangs, for most people involved in any sort of, in any sort of crew or any sort of, group / gang mentality, that if you are out and if one of your group is being hurt or being stomped on, you jump in, you fight, you help out. And I mean, now this is counterproductive to what, to the Kevin Samuels idea, where, you shouldn't be around these people in the first place, which I agree to. You shouldn't be around. That's what that's the reason why Quavo died, because he was around a group of individuals who had this sort of mentality, and people don't fight these days. People draw out guns, they start shooting each other, and then people die. Innocent people die in those capacities, in those circumstances, and it's a dangerous game to go down that road, because again, you could end up killed. You can end up throat slash. So loyalty aside, if you're involved in that group, that is the code of the streets. What he's basically explaining there is the code of the streets, plain, simple, to the point. But should you be involved in the code of the streets if you're a man, if you are a high value man, a man of influence and financial gain? No, you shouldn't be involved in these things. These things should be handled by other people. So this goes counterculture to what a high value man is. But again, this comes from his upbringing as a fighter, that if you were in combat, no holds barred, you must, defend yourself and your brothers against an oncoming threat. And you deal with things afterwards. So it's a shoot first, ask questions later mentality. And again, if you adhere to it, all the better for you. But to a lot of people, they don't, including myself. I don't think you should be anywhere involved in any of these sort of things, because again, you know what I mean? Friends bring you go, but they don't bring you back. There it is. So I'll let him continue.
General professionalism. I've developed a habit where I punish myself for the smallest unprofessional actions. If I misplace my keys or misplace my phone, and it takes me more than 10 minutes to find it, I'll punish myself. regardless, whether I don't spend money this week, or I don't go here, or I'm canceling that, or I'm going to defer buying something I want. I punish myself religiously so that next time I put my phone down, I know where I put my phone. Next time I put it down, I know where I put it all the time. When I put it down, I know where my phone is. So when I'm around people like, hey, I lost my keys, or hey, bro, I forgot. When I'm around sloppy people, I don't like them. I like people who have their lives in order. When I detect sloppiness, I don't really want them too close. Because gaps are where things sneak in. Other things are basic opposite.
Again, so he's talking about the fact that Andrew doesn't want to be around sloppy people. He doesn't want to be around those people who don't see life on a certain level, who will, will let mistakes seep into their lifestyle and can't, bring themselves to be the best person they can be, and will choose to be sort of, sloppy and to a certain extent, and careless in their activities, reckless in their activities. Doesn't want to be involved with these certain people because that costs him money and can make for mistakes that can hold back gains in and of a society. But any sort of gains for any sort of company or any individual in society. But to a certain extent, that is that's par for the course anyway. I mean, no people want sloppy people in and around them. They want responsible, trustworthy, non-careless, non-reckless individuals who will have the utmost in terms of morals and in terms of train of thought in order to make themselves better people. So I'll let it continue.
Really basic opposite. I like that if I'm around my friends, if I'm ever sitting with my back to a room, this is an enclosed environment. In a normal restaurant, I never sit with my back to the room. If I have to do it, I like that I never do it. If I have to do it, people I roll with, they'll literally give me a nod. We'll sit down at dinner and I have to sit here, they'll go. And they'll pay extra attention for me because I can't see behind them. I like that level of professionalism. I like that. I like people, like I said, don't get weak, no hangovers, no crying their eyes out, no cowardice. It's infectious. Don't like that round. No negativity. Don't like that round. So there's certain things that I create a very, very particular reality. And it's actually interesting because to me, these things are all normal. But when you have these kind of standards, it's pretty hard to find friends. You're like, oh, you're a dumbass. You're a pussy. You're like, and you don't talk to that many people. But if you get a crew together that act that way, it's amazing how, not to get all airy-fairy, but it's almost an intangible. When you have 6 men in one place who are perspicacious, who are paying attention, who do have their things right, who don't lose things, who do the whole room can smell. When me and my crew walk in a room, even if it's almost like an energy. Some guy can be eating his dinner and not even see us walk in and go, 6 predators. It's like the rabbit when the fox comes. Like you can smell when the guys turn up. You know what I mean? And everyone's experienced it. Everyone's seen it. So anyone I associate with, I have these very, very stringent metrics, and they're basically just to make sure that nobody gets inspired by something they can't resist to snake us, and also nobody's overly sloppy and allows a way for us to be infiltrated and destroyed. And one of the easiest ways that people, especially in the modern world today, especially people in my position, are infiltrated and destroyed are women.
So there you go. I mean, he doesn't like sloppiness. He doesn't like people who can't see his back. He has a very much a siege mentality in terms of in terms of himself. He's sort of like a wolf pack mentality. Everybody should be looking out for each other. Everybody should see danger around each other. No one should be sloppy. The people should run in packs in a team so that they can succeed together and thrive together with the same sort of mindset. So it's sort of that sort of combat mentality that he brings into the boardroom, that he brings into life, that he brings into, his friends and to his inner circle. So, and all the power to him. I mean, it's sort of a different type of boardroom. I think it's sort of like a militarized boardroom, really, where, it's sort of like a Sun Tzu sort of, 48 levels of power sort of idea where, you're thinking of things tactically. You're thinking of things, you're thinking of things in a sort of, generalistic, sort of a military style attitude, which is, again, a one way to live, and a lot of people are successful that way if they have that sort of military lifestyle. I think, and sort of a combat sort of lifestyle whereby people have to, live by a code. People have to watch your back. You should be able to throw down for someone if given the responsibility, and you should not be sloppy around those people. You should have sort of a military sort of straightforward sort of focused mindset in anything you do. Which again, that's the only friends he wants around, and that's why his inner circle is indeed so small. But that's what he lives by. So again, I think to varying degrees, that's what a lot of us seek out in terms of individuals. Some people have sort of a laissez-faire approach, but not him. He's very much sort of a right wings. I wouldn't say right wing in terms of mentality, but in terms a sort of a focused, sort of militaristic, sort of combat style attitude to life. And again, it's what gets him ahead. So who are we to judge?
Women, I create that very heavily. If you get a guy who's thirsty and he's on your crew, let's say I have problems with another crew, and I know they have a member who's thirsty. That is the easiest job in the world. You get one hot bitch Instagram message. You're gonna find out where they are, what they're doing, where they've been, the hotel room right now. It's fucking dumb deal. You can do whatever you want to them idiots, right? You're gonna have guys who turn that shit down. I've had it a bunch of times in my life where I've been in countries. I was in Sofia, Bulgaria. I was talking to this girl. She's like, hey, 10 out of 10. I've been talking to her for a few weeks. She's like, hey, let's meet at this place. I'm like, let's go here. No, this is my favorite place. Let's go here. And I was like, no. I'll turn pussy down. I could have been wrong. Could have been right. Could have been right. We're never going to know. I'll turn it down. If you have that guy in your crew, hey, bro, she's so hot, bro. So hot. That's problems for you and him and everyone else. So you got to be very careful with the kind of life you're living. But if you live with people who have their lives in order, it's important. But professionalism is also really big. When I see people who are sloppy, it makes me very uncomfortable. If you do.
So again, he dislikes sloppy people. He dislikes people who are unprofessional. He dislikes people who do not have their shit together and who will sell their friends out for the P. Who will literally sell them their woman, their men down a river just in order to get in the good books of a woman. He'll never accept that. He'll never want that in and around him. Which again, it's I think it's the whole bros before hoes sort of code. Sorry to say, ladies. Sorry, but again, just saying that's indeed his mentality. He likes for men to be loyal and not need the sort of appeal of women in order to get ahead. So they can do it with or without it. There's a time and a place, but overall they shouldn't have to deal with said temptations in order to get ahead in life, in order to get and in order to satisfy themselves. They should be men should not be so hungry for female female gratification and female adoration. They shouldn't be. And again, I think for most men, that's very difficult to turn down. And I think it takes a certain man in order to do that. And I would say the top 10 to 20% of men who can do that, who literally say, I have it thrown at me all the time, I can turn it down. To those who are in the bottom 80%, they're going to find it hard. So he doesn't want to deal with those sort of people, which I can understand. I totally can understand that. And there's a time and a place for female relations. There's a time and a place. And a lot of men these days can't find that time and place because they've been deprived of it so long and for so much. So that, when it's presented to them, that's all they can think about. That's all they can see. That's all they know. And, it's for female, gratification. That's all they live for. And, who wants to be, for guys, who wants to be around that? Men should learn a degree of self-control. Godfather said that himself as well. There should be a degree of self-control where you can say, no, I don't feel that this is the right time for me to partake in this. I don't feel that it is the right thing for me to do at this juncture. I'm going to put that aside and let me focus on what I need to do, and let me help my friends out in what they need to do, and in the ways they need help in. So there's nothing wrong in that. I think there's nothing wrong in that idea, but you know, in this sort of clickbait slash, you know, story slash, you know, shorts world, getting those sort of that full context of his ideals, you're not going to get that. A lot of people are just going to, you know, clip him, and to a certain extent, this is his fault as well, because he is the creator of this image as well, where he's been clipped up, he's been chopped up, his ideas have been put out there, and so he's been considered in sound bites because, to a certain extent, he's put that out there because, you know, he has this Hustlers University, he has these he has these 18 ideas of personal wealth, and part of that is putting forth his ideas in sort of chopping up ideas, putting it out there so that it is you know, absorbed by the masses, and people hate it or love it. So, you know, is he the harbinger of his own demise to a certain extent? Yes, but it's to I think people have their own minds to think, and I think he's more of a help, sort of a help and a hindrance to those who are strong-minded and who are successful in and of themselves. So, I'm just going to see if there's any other comments, because what we're going to do is we're going to extend this another night, and we're going to just talk about his attitudes on relationships, because again, that is what people really want to know. That's what really have irked a lot of people that have heard his message, the clickbait of his message. And I'm just going to check to see if there's any sort of commentary here. Nope, we're good. And it's really, made Andrew Tate as famous as he is. Andrew Tate is famous because of the fact, because of his takes on women, his takes on relationships, his takes on, on gender roles and dynamics. That's what's brought everybody to the yard. So and brought the world to his attention. So I am going to, let me get that out of there. I am going to just play one more clip, just as the as my man Anthony. Let me see here. Yes, indeed. Anthony Brian Logan, excellent commentator. He's more of a black conservative. We're gonna let this play for the last part of the show, and then we're gonna get in, and then we're gonna talk about his views on relationships tomorrow night.
How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we're gonna talk about why Andrew Tate has been banned from the internet. Well, not really the entire internet, but from the big dog social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, all the big dogs, he has been banned. And the question is, why? What did he do? And who is Andrew?
Let's fast forward this a bit.
Further, let's watch this clip right here that kind of encapsulates why he's very popular and also why he has been banned, because certain things he says are unpopular with certain people. Let's go ahead and check it out. Off the top of my head.
Cool. Well, let me tell you, this is a Western phenomenon, and it's truly not really Western. If you were to go on a date in America, you'd have a girl sitting there trying to tell you she's reading. If you were to go on a date in Moscow, you'd have a girl sitting there going, my man needs to take care of me. I want him to take care of me. I'll do my job, and he must protect and provide for me. So it's a Western phenomenon, right? It depends where you go. It depends. And this whole idea of this obsession with equality is a truly Western thing, and I don't
Sorry about that.
think it's particularly healthy or important. I don't look at a woman thinking, is she my equal? Is she below me? Is she above me? I don't do that. I sit with a woman and we either enjoy each other's company or we don't. But I know my role as a man. I believe that as a man I should pay for the first date. I believe I should open the car door. I believe I should protect her, provide for her. I believe if she's my woman, she should be able to come to me with her problems and I should fix them.
Perfect gentleman. 100% perfect gentleman. What's wrong with what he's saying so far?
Okay, he's saying the woman has expectations, and he's going to fulfill them. So what's the problem? Keep on listening.
There it is. I mean, what is wrong with what he said? He's literally telling people that men should protect and provide. Kevin Samuel said that men should protect and provide. It's been time immemorial that men should protect and provide. He's just saying it right now. And he's also saying that this is sort of a Western phenomenon. In other words, a developed world phenomenon. If you look in a patriarchal society in Africa, in Asia, in Eastern Europe, in South America, they adhere to this idea. They wouldn't have a problem with it. It's only in the developed world, in Canada, US, and Western Europe, that you have this idea that, no, I want to be equals with men. But men have always seen to it that because of their physical prowess, because they have been the ones who built the world and created and moved society forward, that they should be the ones who make certain decisions. Not to say that women can't make decisions on their own, absolutely not. But there's certain things in terms of provision and protection that men should have last say on. And he's saying it. And if you have the money to do it, nothing wrong with that. Actually, that's being a gentleman. Looking out for your lady, looking out for your family. That is what a gentleman is all about. You consider it a gentleman, but certain people consider it toxic. Certain people consider it misogynistic. Really? It's only the last 50 years you consider it misogynistic. Previous to that, that was considered what was considered to be a man. Just saying. We'll continue.
If that makes me a sexist and a horrible person, fine.
It doesn't. I agree with everything you
So
just
by
said, but I also think
by extension,
she can have a higher IQ than me.
okay, so by extension, right? Because this is what happens. You agree with the baseline. Everyone agrees with the foundations of what I say, but when I build on top of it, they try and pretend it's sexist. By extension, if I have authority over her, if I have responsibility over her, I apologize. If I have responsibility, which I have, I'm paying for things, I'm making sure she's safe, I'm driving her, I'm taking out the car, etc. If I have responsibility over her, then I must have a degree of authority. For the same reason, if I have responsibility over, and everyone's going to lose their mind, it's an example, it's only an analogy. If I have responsibility over a child, I have to have some authority. You cannot be responsible for something that doesn't listen to you. You can't be responsible for a dog if it doesn't obey you, or a child if it doesn't obey you, or a woman doesn't obey you.
The super sexist path.
It's not.
What he's saying is correct. And people want to get offended. See that right there? See that exchange right there? With the reaction from Dave Portnoy from Barstool to what Andrew Tate is saying is a big part of the reason why he has been banned. Because certain people that have high positions of power, they don't really want to hear what he's saying. All they know is you compare a woman to a dog or to a child. It's not even about that. It's about, hey, if you want me to do certain things for you, like, I don't know, protect, to provide, all kind of stuff like that, I'll do that. But there's got to be some exchange here. It can't just be one-sided. I got to have some authority. If you want me to protect you, you got to be able to listen to what I'm telling you, right? Because protection is not just when some guy comes out of the alley, I put my pistol and shoot him. Protection is always, hey, you shouldn't wear that. It's a little bit too revealing. You about to go to this place where it could be a little dangerous. I might not be there. That's also part of protection. But see, if you don't want to hear what I'm saying, then you're not going to be protected. Protection is not just physical in the moment. It's a constant thing that happens when you're not even there. Same thing with your children. Same thing with if you have a pet or something like that. But it's not to say that a woman is the equivalent to a child or a pet. It's just saying, if you want me to do certain things, there must be conditions met in order for me to make these things happen. It's very simple.
So, you heard that. Now here's the thing. It's, if we are the stronger sex and you want our protection, there are certain things we have to speak to that you should take, not with a grain of salt, but you should consider it, you should seriously consider it. Let's say that. You should seriously consider that if you are in a relationship with me. Because I am here to provide protection for you. If there's something that goes off at a bump in the night, you're not going to go out there and investigate it. You're going to ask your man to do it. And if your man does it and he's risking his life, quote unquote, in order to protect you from harm, there are certain things you can't turn around and say, oh, protect me now, but I can't listen to you at any other time. If that's the case, do it yourself. Depend on the state in order to provide that protection. But women don't want that. Women want a man who can get up at a moment's notice and do the business in order to protect her from harm. Consider it so chauvinistic. Consider it toxic masculinity. Consider it anything you want. But any woman would agree with that. Any woman. They want to be there with their man, knowing that if they go out in public, they'll be there to offer that, to be that shield for them if any harm enters their way. Nothing wrong with that. It's been like that for time immemorial. So why change that? Why change that? No matter how intelligent a woman is, she can't manage a man's strength. Even though there is no sort of gender gap in terms of pay, equal pay, the fact of the matter is you need his provision in order to better yourself in society. No women, again, these rules are changing by the minute, but most women do not want to would like to be in a relationship where they can protect, they can be provided for, and makes it better for the next generation. Build generational wealth. What's wrong with what he's saying? What's wrong with what Andrew Tate has just said? If somebody can literally come on and tell me what's wrong with what Andrew Tate is saying, please do. Because I don't see a problem with it. I don't think most women would see a problem with it. But when you chop things up, and this is to his own detriment as well, but for the most part, if you chop things up to feed a narrative, you could consider him the bad guy. But what's wrong with what he had to say? Nothing's wrong with what he had to say. If you grew up with a man in the house, especially if you're Gen X, or a millennial, or anybody, you would adhere to these tenets. This would have been taught to you. This is something that speaks to you. So, let's move on with the conversation.
Next up, I was just said he compared a woman to a dog and a baby. See, he just reduced only what he said down to that. And look, you see right here, look at this. Look at these faces. See, you already know where this is going to go. You already know where this is going to go. I don't know what kind of podcast this is. What is this? A chick flick with a dude in the background? What is this?
Yeah, and I knew that was going to be. That's why I said everything was mine is just.
Oh yeah.
Pick some better ones then if you want.
And again, this is Simp 101. This is so Simp 101. You have a gentleman trying to look good to a certain lady so that he is better than himself. Kevin Samuels used to call these guys panda bears. That's what David Portnoy is right now. He's a panda bear. He's pandering to ladies. And this is where this whole simp mentality comes from. Simping. This is simping. When you have a female audience and you're there to dance for their enjoyment, you're there to put a smile on their face, something's wrong with that. You're stepping out of your male exterior. You're stepping out of it. You're becoming some new age man. You're becoming some sort of metrosexual. But at the end of the day, you're not. What man are you? What real man are you? What man are you? What respected man are you becoming? None. Because women don't respect men like this. They don't. In the long run, they don't. But again, we stand at attention in these circumstances and realize that what is happening to men these days? This is part of the emasculation of malehood, when you have to dance for a lady's attention and favor. And this is Dave Portnoy is a high value man with in every sense of the word. And for him to do this sort of thing in front of women, it's beneath him. In my estimation, it's beneath him.
I can't be responsible. Then cool. Let's take a beautiful sports car. Doesn't
all he heard was baby and dog. He is just, it's so weird. You know, this whole thing about equality, you can't have equality when people are expected to do different things. We're not equal in that way. We're not the same. Because people like Dave Portnoy and these women that were looking so flabbergasted, they look at equality as being equivalent. But it's not like that, because you and I are not the same. Point blank, period. We do different things, and we have different expectations placed upon us. That's how that goes. But we'll keep on going here.
Yeah, I can't be responsible. Then cool. Let's take a beautiful sports car. Doesn't matter, a house.
Yeah.
Whatever. Whatever I'm responsible for, I have to have a degree of authority over. You can't sit there and say,
I'm not. But where the disconnect is going is you start with the baseline, but at one point during this conversation, Dr. Circular, you were saying there's study.
And I get what Dave Portnoy is getting at. He doesn't like the fact that women are being objectified. Okay, I get it. He doesn't want women to be objectified. He doesn't want to be compared to sports cars. Doesn't want to be compared to dogs. Doesn't want to be compared to anything as such. Fair. Okay, fine. But at the end of the day, you cannot contend with males' authority, males' hegemony in terms of provision and protection. Especially protection. Because every woman wants our protection. They just can't really say it. And they'd rather the state to do it, but they don't want to say it out loud, but they do. Men who are protectors and providers have always been the most watched, the most admired, the most wanted men out there. Those who can protect and provide for their family. Because we have to build our wealth. We have to build a sense of ability among us to protect. On our own. And so, I get the whole objectification idea. Okay, fine. You don't want to compare the women to dogs or cars or cats or moons or stars or blue clovers, bleeding diamonds. You don't want to do that. I get it. I totally get it. But at the end of the day, if women need men, there are certain things that women have to adhere to in order to get. And no modern female ethic code will erase that. No man wants to be considered a second-class citizen in this house. He doesn't want to be. Equals? I don't think so, because we're not equals in terms of protection. We're not equals in terms of provision. We're not. Unfortunately, we're not. That's the way life goes. That's the way cookie crumbles. That's the double standard to which we must adhere. That's why we'll never, and it goes out saying we'll never be as beautiful as a beautiful woman. But that has to be respected. And a man has to respect it in a relationship. So, we move on.
Is that women physically can't be as smart as men. I Google it. It's widely true. The number one cue was a woman.
no, I said I don't believe women are as smart as men, is what I said.
Well, you proved some studies.
And I told you.
You're entitled.
See, that's the whole thing right there. That's the whole thing. That's one thing. But I have one more clip before we wrap it up here. One more clip, y'all hang with me, because that's the main thing you see out there on the face. That's the reason. Oh, he's misogynistic. He hates women, which is not really what I see right here. Maybe there's other clips I've not seen, but from that right there, that's not a thing where I would think he hates women. I just think that some people are offended at how he was expressing himself, but what he was saying is correct. It's just correct. If I am expected to protect and provide and serve, all this kind of stuff, then there has to be some kind of exchange. You can't expect me to do all these things while at the same time I have zero authority over you and the house and everything else. That's just not how that works. But here is one more for you guys. Now check this out and see if this may have had an impact on his standing or not.
Something, man. When this corona thing was going on, I flew here from Romania on Wizz Air. Because you can't get first-class flights into Europe, so all these low-cost carriers. I'm flying Wizz Air. I have a mask on. Excuse me, sir, put the mask over your nose. I'm an air stewardess, is my own point. So I put my mask on my nose. Everyone was freaking out about masks. I had to fill out all these home office papers when I landed, all this crap, PCR tests, blah, blah. I thought I'm not doing that again. So about 2 months later, I flew on a private plane. No mask. met me at BMW, no one was wearing a mask. Nobody had a mask on, no one asked me for rich. Do you know why? Because I was rich. Corona doesn't exist for the rich people. As soon as you pay 50 grand for a flight, now that'll trouble you then. It'll trouble the puncher on the Wizz Air flight. It's all a scam. All of it's a scam. And this is how the whole world has always worked and always will work.
See, now stuff like
Perfect. This is what took Andrew Tate over the edge. His talks about COVID and his reveal that there's a double standard between rich, middle class, and poor when it comes to COVID, especially when it comes to travel. Because if you can afford to travel coach or economy on any sort of flight, there's a mask mandate. There is a huge mask mandate in terms of those you are flying with, and you have to have a mask over your face. You have to take a PCR test. You have to make sure that you are clear in terms of COVID, in terms of when you fly out and when you come back. That's when in the height of things. But if you are rich enough, all those things fall to the wayside. You don't need a mask. You don't need a PCR test. You don't need anything. You can travel as freely as you want. So COVID only existed to the rank and file, the masses, and not the top 5 to 10%, because they can afford to travel on their own and not need a mask in order to do it, as he explained right here. And that was seen as dangerous. It was seen as dangerous. Now again, I'm not here to advocate any sort of COVID scheme, because I don't want to get copyright stricken. I don't want to get any sort of ban of any site. I don't want to cite anything. You adhere to whatever COVID testing you want to adhere to. But at the end of the day, here's the difference. Those who are rich don't need to adhere to any sort of COVID ideal. They don't have to have any sort of mask mandate in order to adhere to. They can literally go and come as they please because they paid the right to do so. And if you and I haven't paid the right to do so, then we're under a mandate. That's what he's saying. Take it or leave it, like it or lump it. Which is true. And what would you rather? Would you rather have a choice as to how to regulate yourself in the midst of COVID? Or would you rather have somebody tell you, keep a mask on, make sure you take this test, make sure you write this thing down, make sure we have contact tracing, all these different things in order to get ahead? He knows what his choice is. I would know what my choice is as well. But again, to each his own.
that, we start to really expose what's really going on, a little peek behind the curtain. Oh, no, we can't do that. We cannot have that going on, Mr. Tate. You're getting too popular. And maybe I didn't mention it, but here's another reason. Aside from what you just saw about the women, and right there about some truth bombs about the bug and how if you go on a private jet, private plane, ain't no mask, ain't no test. You can do whatever you want. If you fly private, you can do whatever you desire. If you're a politician, you got money, do whatever you want. You're a regular normie, just trying to make ends meet, then you're the one that gets basically put into the category of a slave, no matter what color you are. And just a side note, Tate, I think, is biracial. His father is black from Chicago, but that's a much different story. And not that
if you're watching on Talk Live, I was wanting to see this. If you're watching on Talk Live right now, you can actually see Andrew Tate's dad. They have a picture of Andrew Tate's dad here, who is a black man from Chicago. You didn't know that. There's a lot of people who don't know that Andrew Tate is biracial. He is indeed biracial. His dad's from Chicago. His mother is from the United Kingdom, and she is white. So they just have a picture for him on Talk Live right here. If you want to check it out, you can check it out right there. I've even paused it for you live on IG and YouTube. Sponsored by Duntalk, DUNTALK.com. Like, subscribe, comment. We are on the road to 1,000 subscribers. So yes, that is Andrew Tate's dad. Now, a lot of people haven't seen him before, but thank you, Mr. Andrew Brian Logan, for that little picture of who Andrew Tate is. And guess where he got his love of chess from? His dad. There you go. Done.
look up Emory Tate, chess champion, CIA as well. Deep, but I move on. The other reason why Andrew Tate has been banned from the internet is because he's become way too popular. See, there are a lot of guys that say things like that on YouTube and Facebook and whatnot who are not banned. But I think what happened was some of the content about women androgynous or nothing like that. He would just tell the truth to women and about women, which is why women, and women that I know personally, great friends of mine, they love Kevin, loved him, because he would tell the truth. Now, certain other women wouldn't like him too much because they didn't want to hear the truth. But that's a different story again, so I digress. When Kevin passed away in May, I think Andrew Tate had like 1 million subscribers on Instagram, Facebook, or whatever. In June, he had like 4.7 million. So he was reaching a really big audience and little kids watching him. He became too big. So now you have these big organizations complaining about him, and they're writing hit pieces, think pieces, all kind of stuff about Andrew Tate, releasing statements and giving press conferences. It became too much for these big social media giants to bear. It's the same thing they did with the mask stuff. If you were to be critical of the masks, when Fauci was saying put the mask on, take the mask off, put the mask on again, you would get punished for that. But now that we know that was all BS, and it's been out there, and Fauci is leaving, we can talk about it again. It's the same thing going on with Andrew Tate. Same thing. It's a political situation. That's what's going on, at least in my humble opinion. That's why.
So again, just finishing up, Andrew Tate has filled the void. That's the reason why there's so much hate for Andrew Tate. Because again, he is the next level of what Kevin Samuel was. Kevin Samuels was pretty much running the Black Manosphere, running Black Internet for a good 2 years. When he died, Andrew Tate, I think he was running neck and neck in terms of Kevin Samuels and himself. But he took that message and moved it forward, and then he became this. As he said, he had 4 million subscribers on YouTube. Like, he had million subscribers on Instagram and all of his platforms. And he had a message that sunk in not only in the Black manosphere, in the Black diaspora, but all over. Because he catered to every market, because he was biracial. So, they saw him as being too big. So they wanted to limit that message, so they decided to shut him down. As it says right here. Because again, a lot of people took his misogynistic, well, he's quote-unquote misogynistic, but his masculine message, his old school masculine message, as being too toxic, too misogynistic, too influential to young men everywhere. Not only from 16, but to 60. And so they decided to take him out. They decided to take him out. They didn't want that message to spread. They didn't want, and I have it on another video here, but I won't go into it tonight. But what he brought forward was the fact that he didn't want a mobilized, masculine sort of environment in the developed world. That's one thing. They did not want a developed world where men are hyper masculine, because you can see it in the media already. You can see it in movies. I mean, you have The Woman King, you see Black Panther 2, where the emasculation of men is going on in force. It is proliferating throughout society. If you look at any sort of music award show, what male, outside of white male, what sort of male role model do you see? You see more of a timid or emasculated or, LGBTQ 2S sort of model, which is a shade down from a strong, I can use myself as a strong black male. You don't see a lot of strong black males in the media these days. You don't. And that is an issue to which Kevin Samuels wanted to straighten out, and you want to bring people together. But not only that, that's what Andrew Tate really brought out. That's what Andrew Tate really put out in the atmosphere. And not a lot of people want to see a driven, masculine environment in the developed world. No, because it shuts down femininity. I would say increases femininity, but it shuts down the feminist movement. It slows it down. Because you get these sort of red pill, MGTOW, manosphere, black manosphere sort of environments, and that is creating a more old school sort of male who would not take any guff and who would see their woman in a different light. Let's say that. You can fill in the blanks on that, but they see women in a different light. Not necessarily, they would see women equals in some ways and non-equals in others. And they didn't want to bring that to the fore. They want a docile male who will bend to the women, bend to the will of not only women, but also to, name your authority figure. They don't want to see a mobilized, hyper masculine society. They don't want to see it, especially in the developed world. Because if you're looking again in Asia and Africa and Eastern Europe and in South America, where there are patriarchal societies, you see thousands of these men. And so this hits different. Andrew Tate's message hits different there. But this is part one. We're gonna end it here for now. I don't think there's anything that we can go on with this thing. And here we go. I'm just gonna read this quick article. Oh, okay. Oh, great. It's one of those things now. Okay, fine. We don't need you because that's the message that we are adhering to right now. So what we're gonna do tomorrow is we're gonna go further. Oh, you know what? I'm going to play this one last video and then we're going to get out of here. Just with regards to Andrew Tate and the whole Lil Nas episode. And how, his video with Dancing with the Devil wasn't exactly, it was targeted for a reason.
Holy shit.
You can't believe your own eyes, then what can you believe? There's also another guy I want to shout out quickly who's doing some good work on TikTok.
Got a petition to unban him from Instagram. Well, here's the top G. Do you have a Bugatti? The reason why you can have a Bugatti is because the top G has all the Bugattis. Excuse me, everybody.
Okay, that goes a little further. Anyways, let me move this on.
Here's one thing I would love to ask Andrew about. Dylan, but who is it? Media can put information, but if we can't...
Conversation I want to have with you. You may think it's artistic, you may think it's cool, but sex with the devil is nothing other than degenerate. And I know when you're young, you may think that those kind of things are like, here we go. You may think those kind of things are edgy.
I've never seen that before. Holy shit. How does that not get canceled, but all the other content in this space does? Holy shit.
How does that not get canceled? That doesn't get canceled because they want to create a more docile individual. They want to create a more docile man. 30 years ago, that would have never been tolerated. But these days, they want a docile, emasculated, especially black man out in public, in the public life. And again, no shade on Lil Nas X. Let him do what he wants to do. But at the end of the day, he's been used as a puppet in order to create a more emasculated male. Not only homosexually, but heterosexually. A new definition of man. If that is a definition at all. No shade on Lil Nas X. He can do what he wants to do. This is a free and just society. I adhere to the LGBTQ community to do as they please. But at the end of the day, there's a reason why they're pushing it. Because they don't want men to be men anymore. They don't. They rather push a narrative of men being sort of, especially black men who are hyper masculine in most cases. They want to push it where you can afford to be emasculated to a certain extent, be redefined to a certain extent, and viewed in a different light. A light in which you're not seen as the ultimate in cool. You see it as the ultimate in, well, choose your adjective.
Break social stereotypes. It's actually disgusting, and there's no need to insult Christianity like that, and there's also no need to worship the devil like that. Nothing good can come from being an absolute degenerate and thinking that having sex style with the devil is somehow good for the world. This is not about to the female devil. I have massive influence. I would never promote Satanism. I would never promote anything to do with the devil. I think that doing that is largely and absolutely irresponsible. Let me tell you what's actually cool. Nazex, real Nazex. What's cool is promoting people to be good to each other and to be nice to each other. And you can sit here and say, well, I'm intolerant because I'm not tolerant of you having sex with the devil. The devil in and of himself is an intolerant being.
Right.
If you believe in tolerance, you must believe in God. You can't be out here promoting these things. What you're doing is genuinely disgusting.
Yeah.
And what's happened is this. He didn't come up with this idea. Someone above him came up with this idea. Some artistic producer, some record producer, someone came to him and said, this is going to be cool. This is going to break the internet. You're young, he's impressionable. You're going to have the devil that's going to break the internet, and he's too young to know any better.
So I am so convinced that with the decentralization of communication platforms such as YouTube, and I know some of the biggest creators have gotten kicked off and now they're on different platforms, and this is why it's so important as to really put a fine-tooth comb and really an understanding what is the reasons for these different bannings. But the thing is like Lil Nas X is able to do this because he has marketing dollars behind him, and they're all in cahoots together. A lot of those top executives are also friends with the people within technology companies as well. So they're all kind of gently massaging and rubbing each other's backs to get certain messages through, and then other messages not.
And there, we're going to leave it. I'm going to have my last say, and then we're going to leave it there. But the fact of the matter is, Andrew Tate has a right to be, dismayed at this Lil Nas X video, because again, it's promoting devil worship. It's promoting devil worship. It's defaming Christianity. It's defaming family values. It is going against the grain, and it's being funded by corporations themselves. This sort of stripping down of religious and moral ideals is being funded now. And not only that, it also fosters a new look at men in and of itself. Men aren't men anymore. They're dancing with devils. And it's being it allows for it. One of the Andrew Tate, why the hate for Tate, and the reason why he's being and his ideas on relationships and gender roles. So look out for that, and look forward to speaking to you again. All right. And if you talk, walk the walk. And I'm going to shut you down on IG right now. Thank you for joining me. I hope to see you tomorrow, 8 p.m. IG, YouTube. We're going to try and get on TikTok. So look forward to that, and I'll speak to you soon. Peace.